One. This is Ed, and welcome back to Global TV Talk Show. You can see that we're in the World Studio today, and welcome back, Ron Cooper, the Cooper Culture. Ron is a well-known business executive, plus 26 years in the Air Force, fighter pilot, squadron leader, a real good guy. Outspoken on many things, and we're really glad to have you back on the Global TV Talk Show. Welcome.
Ed, thank you. It's really good to be with you, your listeners. Just a great opportunity to talk about topics that I think are of great interest to a lot of different people.
Okay, so here it's just after 8 a.m. in downtown San Diego, which is also the headquarters of the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Right down the street is what I affectionately called Pentagon West, which is the headquarters right across from the USS Midway aircraft carrier museum now, one of the most popular events, go-to events in San Diego. Seems like every visitor wants to go on the tour of the aircraft carrier. It's a very,
Yes, and I
very
will.
busy area.
Yep, I will say that's certainly a novelty. You only see a few of those around. I'll tell your listeners that I live about 1 hour south of the real five-sided Pentagon. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland. Frequently, some of us refer to Maryland as the East Coast, California, but we are just about an hour south of the nation's capital.
Well, that's great. So you and I have been doing this series, and it's ongoing for many weeks to come, uh, about, well, what would you call it? It's called the Cooper culture. It means how you think about things, of course. Would you like to just do a summary statement? And I welcome you to invite the audience to communicate, to subscribe to a newsletter idea that you and I have talked about.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate this opportunity. As you have said, I have a military background. I am a former F-4 pilot. I retired from, or I use the word transitioned from the U.S. Air Force into executive corporate experience. And now my wife and I, of 57 years, as of September 7th, 1968, when we got married, that we are business partners. Some people say, well, I love my wife and we do well as married partners, but we could never be in business together. My wife and I are in business together. And as you mentioned, Ed, we are called the Cooper Culture, with the emphasis on culture. I am a public speaker. I speak about my military background. I leverage my past time as an F-4 pilot, commander, talk on executive leadership, team building, and workplace culture, where I know that executive leaders, when they do well, can have their staff work very well, productively, efficiently, and of course, the converse can be true as well. We in the military, I think, I frequently say there are three professions I think that have teamwork down to a fine art. That's law enforcement, firefighters, and military. We, in many cases, those three lifestyles, those three agencies, in many cases, literally our lives depend on each other, trusting each other, working well with each other. I leverage my military experience to help corporations and families build a tight, cohesive team. And in the context of workplace harmony, we're in a world right now, Ed, where it's very popular for some people to so vehemently and strongly disagree with each other that sometimes that becomes a need for revenge to some form or fashion. If it's only in words, that's one thing, but we are very aware of some cases where that need for revenge has been in the form of wanting to terminate someone's life. And I want to do everything I can to help people overcome any urge to seek revenge simply because we have differences of opinion. Very briefly, Ed, I'm a public speaker. I conduct workshops with businesses, families, and so forth. And I can help businesses, whether you're for profit or not for profit, increase your retention, staff retention through teamwork. And Marty and I are DISC, personality behavior certified. And as we know people, our styles, our personality styles, our human behaviors, as we get to know each other and we choose to adapt to each other, we can get along with each other. That's a very simple version of how things work. But Ed, I look forward to literally interacting with your vast audience. If there's an opportunity to speak, if there's opportunity for a workshop, half day, full day, please contact us. You can contact me at Ron, RON, at thecooperculture.com. My website is thecooperculture.com. All of our contact information, certifications, and how we can benefit you are on that website. Ed, thank you for the opportunity to let us know how we can benefit those in your audience.
Thank you, Ron. I'm very happy to assist and offer my media PR to you in that pursuit. And perhaps someday we're going to actually meet in person.
Yes.
That would be great. Cheers.
Thank you, Ed.
Well, I know you couldn't hear this because we have sound cancellation on the mics here. We're right across the street, across the bay from Coronado Air Station. Um, there's three nuclear carriers docked right across the street, and a couple more downwind in the bay. And this is a very, very secure environment. Uh, Not sure if there's anything going on out there. I'm not privy to that, but there's just been a huge flyover of military aircraft coming in for a landing right across from where I'm sitting. And so the I don't know what you call it, the engines go in reverse when they're slowing down and landing. They flew right over where I am. It's unusual. It doesn't happen every day. Usually they come in from the ocean, but there's a Santa Ana condition, which means there's an eastward flow from the deserts. And so the wind usually is the other way. So I think that's probably what caused that huge noise. It's
Well,
now it's quiet.
yep, that undoubtedly is. And Ed, one of the things about us who fly, we always want to go into a headwind. So there's a long story that goes into that, but
That's like an automatic braking system.
well, it can be an automatic braking system, but if I am taking off or landing downwind, that's going to increase the speed required to either take off or land. So we always want to take off into the wind, and so we are used to always going against the wind, and there's a social application to that as well.
So the U.S. government, as we all know, is in an economic shutdown, very political environment going on in D.C., but it extends to right here across the street at the Navy base and Coronado Airfield. I'm sure I'm not saying it properly, but that's what it is. And Fleet Week is upon us, which means it's open to the public and in various aspects. And right here down the street is the Embarcadero, in other words, where the cruise ships come in. But at Fleet Week, the military has ships, usually open and available to the public under, of course, certain guidance and conditions. They canceled it. And it's really been a bummer. And so we uh, this show is not political, but geopolitics is certainly entering into a lot of people's lives today. And I just want to say publicly, as the broadcaster here, that quit this. Communicate with the American people better. Ron?
Ed, I'm right there with you. Yes, it is not my attempt to persuade anyone to believe or vote in any particular way. I welcome diversity of opinion. That's one aspect of diversity I strongly encourage. I do want to learn from those from whom or with whom I maybe disagree. I would just hope that we can have always a civil discourse to where we can learn from and benefit each other, even though we disagree on any number of things. I'll tell you, Ed, yes, in the context of what are we, day number 29, I believe it is, 28 in the government shutdown, the military, I will tell you from my perspective, is always on duty to serve, to protect our people against all enemies, foreign and domestic, whether we are paid or not. That is one of the things that we signed up for. And so the safety, people's safety, and I do understand that across the country, various cities are in the various states of, oh, I don't know what you call it, disarray, but let's just say there are differing opinions, and well, there are a lot of dynamics that are going on. And one of the topics that is current right now is the deployment of National Guard forces. And we have a very diverse opinions whether the president is appropriately using National Guard forces to protect people, to help safety in various cities. I personally believe, and I am not a lawyer, I can't cite statutes specifically. I do believe, as I have studied this, he is within his legal right to deploy National Guard forces, albeit not every judicial person agrees with that, but we have a judicial system to make rules. But Ed, that's just, I I would hope, wherever we are, we can always have a civil discourse, even when we disagree. But I would hope that we would never get to the point where we just feel like we have to burn any part of a city, put people at various threats, et cetera, and so on. I would hope that people feel comfortable going to various parts of different cities to socialize, eat, whatever, and not have to wonder, worry if they're going to be carjacked or maybe even harmed to some degree. But a much broader topic, but that's a lot of where I am.
Okay, I welcome that. And once again, the show is not aimed to be political. This is all about business, but the business of America is people, and everything is intersecting. So, the National Guard, well, I was a medic in the Army Reserve for 6 years, and I didn't have the opportunity to go on uh, armed combat areas. I was in hospitals, which I loved. It turned out fantastic for me personally. It changed my life for the better. I was an operating room technician, and the unit leaders were Harvard Medical School surgeons, uh, trained by Harvard Medical School and Massachusetts General Hospital. And we were headquartered inside uh, the unit of Massachusetts General Hospital, which is a huge medical center, called Children's Hospital. And my specific role was an operating room technician, in other words, a nurse associate. And but they found that I was good with managing people under stress and who came in with loved ones or themselves who were injured and freaking out. So uh, that's what I morphed into. And yet the medical training and immediacy of caregiving, that is stuck with me. And to this day, I still practice that. Unfortunately, we've had a need to do that here in this family, but it turned out to be spot on. And so I'm with you all the way.
Ed, let me interject here. I want to personally thank you for serving our country
No,
in a
thank you.
medical capacity or in
Thank
any
you.
capacity, but particularly in the medical. I'll tell you, those of us in the aviation career field really only want to have to deal with you 1 day a week, 1 day a year. That's our annual physical. And but we know that we always hope you're there. Should we be injured in combat, which we hope will never happen, but we want to have the assurance that we know you're there and that we don't know your trade. We just hope that whatever may have happened to me, Ed, I'm going to rely on you to put me back together and put me back on the battlefield. But I will tell you, in the context of business relations and so forth, we here in Maryland are having some business owners leave Maryland for various reasons. One of them is safety, that they don't feel safe. If a business person doesn't feel they can operate in a location profitably, they're going to move. They're going to shut down. And some of those profits have direct correlation with safety. And so if there are thugs, to use that term somewhat broadly, in the area that may keep people away from a business, obviously that's going to affect the business and their profitability and so forth. And so the business owner might have to make a decision, which some are in Maryland, perhaps some in California. Hey, the people do not feel they're safe in coming to this part of the town to patronize my business, and so therefore they won't be coming in. Therefore, I, as a business owner, I cannot continue to operate with a negative cash flow. I have to make a move to do something different. All of this is synergistic, Ed, and so it becomes a matter of how can we ensure safety and keep our businesses thriving and so forth. And I know there are varying opinions of how to do that, but I am the kind of person that I want to do everything I can to ensure your safety as a consumer, but your profitability as a business owner as well. I want to do everything I can to put that in order so that we can thrive.
So there's political things happening, of course, whether it's New York City or here in California or somewhere else. And there's just a lot of talk about what to do about fixing America. Uh, Not from a political point of view, but from a helpful point of view, being helpful. Once again, it's the medical training that is coming out here, taking care of people. And it's not political, but it's life. And life is politics. Politics is life. So there's a homeless situation in San Diego, not as bad as San Francisco or LA. Uh, uh, we've got to take care of that. It's not good for business, and it's not healthy for the people who are living on the streets or in the uh, limited land adjacent to the freeways with all the noise and the smells, and that's not a healthy situation. So what do you do with these people? Well, when I was growing up, you know, 60s, I graduated college in 68. Uh, I'm from Boston originally, but I went to college outside of Boston, and I'm really glad I did. Um, I went out in central Massachusetts in the countryside in the hills, and peace and quiet and tranquility. Man, it changed my life because Boston was a hotbed of anti-war. And when I went to military meetings, even though when I was in a hospital and wore white, you know, not a uniform, we couldn't go down certain streets when we were wearing uniform en route to or back from a meeting. Because there's so many kids who were, whether they're stoned out or just crazed, uh, it was actually violent. And So I'm thinking that there's got to be a way for somebody, and it's not political, but well, almost like a Peace Corps, U.S. Peace Corps, not to take control, but to get involved in a medical, humanistic point of view, helping people. Now, that means you got to find people who may not be business people, but more people who want to take care of people and who can be trained to uh, help people if they're not already trained. There's plenty of people who are trained in health care giving and whatever the right words are here to be helpful to people who need advice on cleaning, washing, health care. Uh, Maybe they need people to talk to in a faith way. I think religious applications here or faith in a higher being uh, could be a guidance. Anyway, there's got to be a way that public-private partnership. What do you think of that idea?
Oh, a lot of thoughts come to mind, Ed, and I just have a sense that I definitely agree with everything that you are thinking. Um, Last night there was at Ole Miss. I say it was last night. I saw it last night. Whether it was filmed, Ole Miss and Charlie Kirk, Erica Kirk, actually, and Vice President J.D. Vance spoke to a group. It was filled. The auditorium was filled. And I look at that. They were, for all intent and purposes, college age students. Is there an uprising in, let's just say, faith-based organizations? I choose to believe yes. And I think we're in a period of time where there are college age students, younger than you and I, that are looking for greater fulfillment in life, and they're finding it through, I think, people like us, Ed, but we societally have gone through several decades, maybe some generations of going away from, and now I see people coming back to. I can tell you that well, as close as we are to Washington, D.C., and I do see video clips of the homeless, and I hear about or I see videotaped defecating on the street. I do know that, and I haven't been a top subject of or target of carjacking in Washington, D.C. These kind of things are happening. And so I am the kind of person that I'll be very cautious where I take my wife, Marty. And I don't want to go anywhere where I have any aspect of thinking, I don't want to jeopardize her safety at all. I want to be wherever I take her, I want her to be 100% safe. I want for her to have the total peace of mind. And so there are some people who have, it appears, learned to live off the system, and meaning homeless person, will be homeless for the rest of my life because I know how to get the money I need just for bare subsistence. And hey, I'm happy doing what I'm doing, maybe engaged in drugs or whatever. I am also aware that we do have some homeless people because of mental illness. And so, Ed, there's a whole range of topics here that I think we have got to come together. We've got to propose solutions, think long term. And yes, there are costs to this. Those who have learned to use the system and milk off of us taxpayers, I want to do what I can to encourage them to find employment and get a real job. And so I know there's some people who would disagree with what I'm saying, but at least some people will know exactly where I am. But those are just some very overarching, broad thoughts that I have.
So, once again, it's not political, but politics is entering into everything. Um, we're business people. So, President Trump is running around the world. I don't know where he gets his energy. He's just about our age,
Yep.
and but he's doing it. And making deals. Um, but and hopefully they're everything that the press is reporting and more. But public-private partnerships are, I mean, this is an old concept, but it looks like he's re-energized that whole approach and getting companies to invest in the U.S. Is the key because that's bringing in new money to reduce the public debt, right? That's, I think, what it's all about, as well as to generate more jobs and economic development or land development or reusing or repurposing old things for the new by using technologies and then getting a cut of that new growth. And I think that's a great idea. What do you
No,
think?
I agree
Yeah.
with you, Ed, and I'll address what we're talking about in two different ways: negotiator and leadership. And in the context of President Trump, I think he's a great negotiator. He is going around the world. He has what, 7, 8 different peace agreements that he has authored. He is a great negotiator. Now, in the context of leadership, there's an aspect of leadership he's very good at, but in terms of uniting people, he can come out with words that, quite honestly, are very divisive. If I were to talk with him at all, I would say, yeah, it's in the context of, well, let's tone down the rhetoric a little bit. Let's try to bring people together, not highlight our differences and et cetera and so on. But at any rate, that's a little bit of my perspective. But yes, in the context of tariffs. That's one of the big topics of discussion right now. And there are many on the left who thought that nope, tariffs is going to it's going to destroy, not if not destroy, it's going to certainly badly damage our economy. But yet, as recently as yesterday, our stock market hit historic highs. I do believe we're going to continue that kind of a trend. I believe that there are people around the globe, and quite honestly, as we in the United States prosper, many other countries are going to prosper as well, that we are globally interdependent on each other. And so, as we can negotiate peace, as we can show goodwill to other companies, other countries, people around the globe are going to benefit from this. And so, again, in the context of negotiations, President Trump, I think, is an absolute master in that. And who knows, more yet to come, it seems. But that's just some of my perspective.
Well, and to augment that a little bit, I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of the financial news. The um, Federal Reserve Chairman Powell
Yep.
and the committee decided to lower rates again, which is a good idea, I think.
Yes.
And no comment on whether it should have been done more or faster, but they did it, and uh, they went public today or yesterday. But I read the financial report put out by the global trading bank HSBC, which is London-based, but also heavily in the U.S., of course, out of New York. So, anyways, I subscribe to that uh, newsletter, and so HSBC said and applauded what the Fed leader did, and he issued all these statements explaining the necessity to lower rates because of the impact of some of the tariff stuff and the instability and the uncertainty that has permeated the business community. Um, and the methodology that the Fed chairman talked about, why they waited and what are they doing, and the pace or the scope of the reductions and what it looks like for the next event in December and into the new year. I'm not going to opinionate anything. It's just what the report said. that in the U.S. economy, from a positive point of view, it's strengthening, not weakening, but not for everyone. The people and who are lower earners, for whatever the reason, uh, it's a different economy than the people who have higher income. The people who are in the lower economic strata are hurting, and there needs to be more attention. And I'm quoting uh, in general about what the Fed chairman said and what HSBC reported on.
Mhm.
And the people who are higher earners, they've increased spending. And that is driving the stock market. And that is what's driving economic stability. But we got to pay attention to the people who are not generating higher income because they are getting squeezed. That's what the guy said, in my words. And so looking at the next decision point, which is going to be in early December, and that'll impact, of course, the first quarter. They're not saying, but the commentary in this newsletter is really fascinating. It was published just this morning. Um, Said that the probability is 70% that there will be another lowering in December, but beyond that, highly unlikely because there's no need. The U.S. economy is strengthening. The Treasury is going to reinvest into buying Treasury bills, which means they're putting more money into the system, beginning, I guess, now. Uh, and all of that is propping up the Dow Jones and stocks. And it's driven by what the president has been doing. I mean, there's some bad things and some good things, but the positive, so much happening, and it is appearing to be strengthening the U.S. economy. So
And
that's
Ed,
that's happy.
yes, and I'll offer this that the more if if a person has the mindset, the more I have, the more I can give, then is there anything wrong? I'll just ask rhetorically, is there anything wrong with being wealthy, however a person defines wealthy? And so I will tell you that Marty and I um, are business owners, self employed, and we do want to help those who have a demonstrated need. And so we are willing to, and we do reach out to others through benevolent means. We do want to help others. What I am against is government telling me they're going to redistribute my income in places that I would not choose to do that. As I distribute my money voluntarily, I do so because I believe that's a worthy cause, the worthy people, and so forth. Marty and I want to make that choice. And so I am a capitalist, and I hope that our economy does extremely well, continues to do extremely well, because again, the more I have, the more I can give. Marty and I are not about looking at the big numbers, whatever numbers we have in our bank account. But I do know the more I have, the more I can give, and I do want to benefit other people. That's our mindset, and I have reason to believe, Ed, that probably reflects your and Joanne's mindset as well.
Yes. But I didn't feel that way years ago, but I do now.
Okay, and to that I would say, Ed, we all go through various transformations. I didn't feel that way whatever time ago because things changed, and so many things changed in our lives to where the way things used to be is well, I'm not now what I used to be. It may be good or bad. So hopefully we're all going in a more positive direction. And so, as we surround ourselves with those, that's just a part of my operating philosophy, who are socioeconomically where we want to be. I never want to be the smartest person in the room all the time. I want to be with you, Ed. I want to learn from you. I want to learn from others that know things that I don't know because I'm always in a quest to learn. As I learn more, and this is a part of what I'm all about, I want to stimulate people's thinking such that together, and that's a very operative term for Marty and me, together we can reach new heights because I'm going to say in aviation terms, there is an aspect you do want to go solo. There's an amount of accomplishment with that. But if you want to accomplish the most you can get, do not go solo. You develop a team and you go forward as a team. You want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, develop a team and take them with you. But that's just a part of our operating philosophy. And as we develop those teams, as we find those and Marty and I are the type that we want to align ourselves with those who share our values. You don't have to have the same everything that we do. We can differ on a lot of different things, but a core is our foundational values. As we have those values together, let's collaborate, work together, and I know we can accomplish a lot of things. Ed, that's just a lot of our operating principles.
The Cooper culture. Subscribe out there. So reach this man. And your email once again?
Is Ron, RON, at thecooperculture.com. Cooper is Cooper. One other quick mention, Ed, Marty and I have a podcast we call Overcomers Overcoming, and we feature those who have overcome any type of life encounter. What we do is feature those who have or are overcoming so that we can provide hope to others who may be going through something right now or sometime in the future that they're wondering, I don't know that I can make it through this. And I will tell you again, a very operative word is together we can. And so that's a lot of what our podcast is about. Overcomers Overcoming. It's available every place podcasts are available.
And I'm really happy, as you could see, everybody, Global TV Talk Show is on board. Cheers to you, Ron
Thank you,
and
Ed.
Marty.
Appreciate it. It's always good to be with you.
See you next week.
See you then. Bye.
Okay, this is Ed signing off in San Diego. Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.